recently came into a new appreciation of Richelle Mead's writing. See our Frostbite review. So when her new book Soundless came out, we were like, why the hell not?
And now we're back to the square one on that whole trust issue thing.
Yeah, it's not that Soundless is awful, it's just
lackluster. There's just something that's not right about it. Like, all the pieces of the puzzle don't exactly fit together.
And I love Japanese, Chinese-based writing, so this should have been an easy sell for me. Soundless is set in an isolated village on a mountain, and when we say isolated village, you might think, but no, we mean like really isolated. Like, no random tourist is gonna randomly stumble in and then end up being sacrificed by creepy-ass townies. No.
This is a village that is completely cut off from the outside world, with the exception of a zip line that barely can carry a load. So what they do is they send down precious metals that they mine in exchange for food from the town below. This is their only source of food.
Faye is one of the lucky few artists in town. She observes daily life and then paints the news each evening. Pretty much everyone else in the town works in the mine.
But the town is weird in one other way. Everyone is deaf. No one knows exactly why their ancestors lost their ability to hear, but they've adapted. Problem is now people are starting to go blind. And this is affecting the amount of materials they can pull from the mine, which in turn affects the amount of food they're being sent up.
So, deaf town, now going blind and teetering on the edge of starvation. Then one morning, Faye wakes up and realizes that she can hear again. She's the only one, and she has to adjust on her own.
Shortly after she regains her hearing, her childhood friend and love interest, Li Wei, decides to go down the mountain and tell the township that they're having trouble and ask them to send more food.
Because it's not like they sent messages down to the township before saying, hey, we're starving up here, and the township just said, yeah, we'll send us more metal. No, that didn't happen. They have no idea that you're starving.
So off Faye and Li Wei go to find out that, surprise, their isolation has been a conspiracy to get them to mine more metals. And surprise, those metals are causing their hearing and sight loss.
The problem with the plot is it's very ABC. Exactly what you expect to happen happens exactly when you expect it to happen. There are no surprises and there are no twists.
Boredom sets in about 2 chapters into the story and your interest never really peaks again.
I mean, there's a whole kingdom out there full of city-states and a greedy king, but all we ever see and talk about is the village on the top of the mountain and the township at the bottom of the mountain. We only get a sense of these 2 really tiny places and nothing of the outside world.
Even the metal that they mine. I assume that it's gold or something because the king, he really wants it. But why? Is it because it's valuable? Does he want to be the most decadent king ever? Does the metal have some special magical properties once it's refined? Who knows?
Mythology also plays a ginormous part in the plot, but do we get mythology stories to clean up and color this bland mining town? No, we don't.
I guess our point is that while the plot is very standard and blah, it could have been at least backed up by some really serious world building that would have brought some interest to this story.
As for the characters, their motivations are pretty non-memorable. I mean, I guess at least they have motivations. They're motivated to save the village from starving, but Soundless doesn't bring anything new to the table with them. They're just altruistic do-gooders.
Faye has 2 defining characteristics that have the potential to make her interesting. Number 1, she gets to do what she loves, art, in a town where everyone is pretty much miserable and hates their job. And number 2, she can hear.
The fact that she's in a privileged position is played up a little bit in her relationship with Li Wei, but the hearing thing, sure, it does come in handy plot-wise sometimes, but literarily speaking, it's an underused tool.
Sound doesn't add any texture to Faye's narration. Faye has never heard a sound in her life, and this was Mead's chance to use some really fantastical descriptions and really put some color into the new way she interacts with the world.
Instead, Faye gets used to sound really quickly, and then we're back to those boring, bland descriptions that we got before she could hear. This is me caring.
Li Wei is uninspiring as well. He's really attractive and he's strong, he's a talented carver, he might just be a clever tactician, but we never really explore that angle much. He's a bit more selfish than Faye, and that's about it.
They're not exactly going to be inspiring any epic ballads anytime soon.
Soundless is just that. Soundless, colorless, and without luster. Which really saddens me to say, because Richelle Mead could have knocked this one out of the park.
Instead, it's going to be one of those books that are easily forgotten, and when you look back at it at the end of the year, you're barely going to remember it. You're not going to hate it, but you're certainly not going to remember that you enjoyed it either.
Plot, characters, and the world at large don't really stand out or offer anything interesting.
So if you have something that you're interested in reading, go read that instead, because honestly, you'll feel more strongly about that book than you ever will about Soundless.